Hey, 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 happy days, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Harried Pajama Grandma. Down to the wire, let's talk about this expression. What the heck does the expression down to the wire mean, and how can you use it to grow and supersize your business? Down to the wire was an expression that started around the 1900s, and by the 1940s it was really, really popular. It came from the horse racing industry, and it meant that it was often down to the wire before you'd know who was going to win the race, which horse was actually going to get the result and win the race. The wire was the finish line. Somehow it became, I don't know where that, I'm sure horse people could tell you the origin of why the finish line is called the wire, but that expression, down to the wire, became really, really popular. And of course it means running out of time or doing something at the very, very last minute. And that, sometimes I don't know about you, but I've been known to put projects off to the very last minute. In college, I, like everybody else, sometimes in some classes would wait till, the night or two before finals to actually start studying for a final, or to do a big project or big paper. We'd wait till like the last minute, the last couple of days before it was due, and then we would start doing our research. And that was back in the olden days before the internet. We'd just begin doing our research to get these big term papers and projects done. I don't even know if kids do term papers anymore. I think they write a lot of papers, but I'm sure it's changed now. And with the internet, it's a lot easier to do research and find information and put things together than it was back when we were in school and we actually had to go to the library and find resources and find magazines, because they didn't have the internet back then. And we've all been guilty of that, of putting things off till the last minute. In not only projects and school projects and things and team projects, but in our jobs and in our works and in our career, in our businesses. We'll put off projects till later, or we'll wait till something becomes an urgent problem before we solve it. I know in some of my businesses, I was like in constant reaction mode. I was putting out fire after fire after fire, and it was really hard to get the time and energy to get ahead of certain issues and challenges in different businesses that I was working with. Usually human resource issues were a challenge. Sometimes, depending on the industry, legal issues were a challenge, and staying ahead of changes in regulatory affairs, like in the USDA, certified organic, things like that. You had to stay ahead of those changes in order to be successful, especially with good manufacturing practices and things. You always wanted to be on the cutting edge of performing better than everybody else, not staying in tune with the regulations as they change, because they change really slow. But when they change, sometimes they have sweeping impact, and if your systems and processes and procedures aren't set up to operate that way, it can cost you a lot of time and energy and money to be in alignment with those things. And you don't want to be down to the wire when it comes to those things. So how do you avoid it being down to the wire? How do you avoid finding yourself running out of time or money or other resources? By planning, by having a plan. And of course, our best laid plans are not going to always work out. We know that. We know we have to be flexible, and especially in this day and age of ever increasing speed of change, we have to be able to respond and change on a dime. But we want to be proactive. We want to be out ahead of the changes. We want to be driving our business and the growth of our business, not dependent on any environmental thing or anything around us that could cause us major challenges. There's certain things we can't control. We all have the same amount of time. We can control how resourceful we are. We can control how we spend that time that we have, and what we prioritize and what we plan to put our attention on. And if we're doing a little bit every day to move us toward our end goal, we'll get there. I guarantee we'll get there. But that does require some planning. My dad used to have an expression. He would use the expression, especially to my sisters and I, when we had some drama or trauma or problem that we wanted him to help us solve. He would say, listen, girls, this poor planning on your part does not create an emergency for me. And he totally meant it. He would help us when he could, but a lot of times he'd let us solve our own problems and figure things out on our own, versus giving us the answer or bailing us out when we were in a little predicament that we, of course, thought was the end of the world. He would say, you know what, it's the 5 P's, girls, and we all knew what he meant. It meant just because we dug our own hole didn't mean it was an emergency that he had to help us out of. It was something that we have to get creative and resourceful and figure out on our own. And I really value that, because had he not taught me that, I'm sure I probably couldn't have lasted in corporate America for over a quarter century, much less start and run several of my own businesses. So planning, very important, but we're still going to make mistakes. We're still going to have to be flexible and know that things are going to come up along the way, but we don't have to leave things down to the wire. And one other thing about thinking and believing things are down to the wire, a lot of things that don't happen in our businesses and in our life are for a reason. And a missed opportunity, a missed deadline, one failure does not really matter in the overall scheme of our business growth and our life. A lot of times we'll find out later on that missed opportunity, that missed deadline, that missed appointment, that the job we didn't get, the person we didn't partner with, it happened for a reason, and it allowed us to have something better come along down the pipe, or we achieved our goal faster without a particular person or opportunity, because there's always another opportunity out there. There's always something else that will help us to reach the goal that we want to reach. So we're never really down to the wire unless it comes to things that other people are judging us for, like grades and projects and raises and things like that. But when we're out and we're creating our own change in the world and building our own business and supersizing our own business, we get to decide what opportunities are for us. We get to decide what the deadlines are. We get to move toward our goal as quickly or as slowly as we want. We get to decide what that goal is, what our supersized business even looks like. So keep in mind that when you're feeling stressed out and down to the wire, is it a self-imposed timeline, or is it something that really, really matters to you? And if it is, then you'll plan better and you won't be down to the wire. There'll be a lot less stress. That's it. If you have any questions or great stories about being down to the wire, share in the comments below. Otherwise, if I can help you in any way, hit me up, or I will be with you tomorrow. Bye.